I've always believed in God, but never really had a really strong faith or a strong belief. I grew up in a Christian home, so I guess like many Christians, you believe because that's what your parents teach you to believe. But it wasn't a life-changing kind of belief that God wants us to have, and the kind of faith that we need to live every day. I never had a relationship with the Lord, and honestly didn't even know what that meant. I didn't know I could even really have that. I always thought I was a good person, and kind of figured I would make it to heaven based on my moral code and that weak belief that I had. So I lived a self-exalting life with God in my back pocket for most of my life. Galatians 5:16 says, "Walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh." And because I trusted in my own strength and understanding, I opened up a door for sin. And when temptation came, most times I didn't have the power or the strength to say no. I was really a slave to sin, and I was constantly convicted because of the moral code that God stitched into me, and from growing up in a Christian home and having that moral code. But without the Spirit and without that relationship, I was powerless. All of my worldly desires led to emptiness when I truly believed that they would actually fill the void. It didn't matter how well I did in sports, didn't matter how much money I made, or how attractive my girlfriend was, or how many friends I had. And I know it's a cliche, but the void really was Jesus-shaped. When I look back, I can see God's hand at work in my life. He began to give me a desire to change, and He gave me strength to put an end to sin that I've been dealing with for many years. He gave me strength to end a long-term relationship that I knew was leading me away from God's will. And things didn't change immediately after making that difficult decision. In fact, it may have fallen even deeper into sin, and I think that's probably because I was without the companionship that I was so used to for many years. And I really relied on that companionship. That's what got me through the day. But in God's sovereignty, He knew that I had to go through that loneliness if I was ever going to earnestly seek Him and desire to have a relationship with Him. After many events like that pulling me towards Christ, my dad came across Grace's live stream. And after many years of being strangers to the church, he suggested that my family and I attend the next Sunday. So we did, and we're still here. So he suggested that we check out Grace the next Sunday, and we did. And I heard exactly what anybody needs to hear, and that's the gospel. Only because of him, I now have faith. When I was dead in my sin, he gave me new life, and I want to get baptized to be obedient and to represent that new life that He gave me.